Yes! What's up guys, Austin here, and I finally got my OnePlus One in, so here are my first impressions. As I'm sure you know, the OnePlus One is the hardest smartphone to get your hands on right now. You need an invite just to buy the phone. Actually, special thanks to @TechPlus over on Twitter for providing me with an invite to get the phone. I'll leave his social links in the description. Anyways, I ordered the phone on a Friday, I got the shipping email on a Monday, and the phone was in my hands by Wednesday. So it's a pretty good turnaround from OnePlus, especially being a country overseas. It was a really good turnaround. They do have a warehouse over here in California. I'm in Maryland, but that's literally across the country. So it was just 2-day shipping. So again, 5-day turnaround for getting this phone after waiting a couple months to get an invite. But it's still pretty good shipping if you can get an invite. Now the first thing that I noticed is just how big the phone actually is. Now it's a 5.5-inch phone, but it's going to be a bit larger than say an LG G3 just because of the top and bottom bezels. But it's not uncomfortable though. The power button and volume rocker are both placed in great positions, but I would say that this is definitely more of a two-handed device, at least for me. Now further on the design, this is the 64GB sandstone black version, and the back of the phone has a very sandpaper textured back. Some people describe it as a rough velvet, but it's really just one of those things you have to have in your hands to really know what it feels like, because you can say it's kind of like a hard velvet or a soft sandpaper, but none of those descriptions really match how the back of the phone really feels. And I'm not really sure if I like it yet, but I do have to say that it is definitely one of the most interesting backs or just even materials that I've seen used on a phone. Also on the back is the 13 megapixel camera, which I haven't really gotten the chance to test in depth, but I'll update you guys in my full review later on. Now the display is nice. It's a 1080p screen, and although it's fairly large, it still looks pretty crisp. It seems to be a fairly accurate display. It's IPS, and there are even settings to tweak the color if you want to. Now I did notice a yellow tint at the bottom of the display, which does seem to be a fairly common issue among these, but it's really only noticeable on white backgrounds. It is a great screen though. I've been doing some gaming on it and everything looks great. Now one thing that annoys me just a bit is the fact that my hands cover up the speakers, but it's really not that big of a deal. I think you'll get that on most of the other phones. But the speaker does do a pretty good job of getting loud, and it does sound pretty decent. But either way, the performance of the phone is really solid. Now although I do take benchmarks with a grain of salt, this does seem to be performing really well. It gets a higher score than both the Galaxy S5 and the HTC One M8, but like I've said in my other videos, most phones nowadays perform really well, so it's mostly about the experience, and so far I'm really liking it. It's running signage in Mod 11, which is basically just a much more customizable version of the latest version of Android. You can change everything from the boot animation to the user interface, and speaking of customization, you can either use soft keys or on-screen keys, but one thing that I've noticed is that the backlight for these soft keys is extremely dim. I actually thought that there was something wrong with it, but again, this just seems like that's just how they're made. So that's basically it for this video. I've only had the phone for a couple of days, but I did want to give you guys an update and let you guys know that I will be bringing you guys a full review in probably a month or so. Like I said in my last video, I'm going to be pretty busy, but I'm going to be using this device a lot. And I mean, the cost is obviously the main selling point of this. And for 350 bucks for 64 gigabytes, I've got to say they're doing a pretty damn good job. So those are my first impressions of the phone. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to see my full review in a couple of weeks, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. If you want to buy these dope socks, head on over to Psych! Yes! Yes! Yes!